Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, Isis, Imitation of Life. The Goddess Next Door helps a young black girl overcome racism during the era of Jim Crow in this Golden Age Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Imitation of Life in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today.
Before I get into this review of The Search for Sadiqah number 2, I wanted to give everybody an update on the upcoming SJS Direct 2025 catalog. Now, I've spoken to an artist regarding the Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer light novel, and he's going to be working on the art for Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer soon. And right now, I'm in the middle of doing the storyboards for Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl, and I'm writing the next John Haynes story, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. So I'm trying to get 3 of the 4 books for the SJS Direct 2025 catalog together. I'm still trying to figure out what type of ISIS series story I want to do. Do I want to follow up with Golden Shine in a story I've called Runway of Doom? Or do I want to do something revolving around a mummy in a story I've tentatively titled ISIS Mayhem at the Museum? Those are the stories that I'm currently working on for the 2025 catalog, and I'm hoping you guys will pick up some of the 2024 books that are out right now, such as ISIS Dark Incubus, John Haynes Illuminati, and Esteemed Horror in the Hamptons on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format after you check out this comic review video. Now, I've been a big fan of Greg Burnham's The Search for Sadiqah ever since I picked up the first 2 issues back in 2019, and it's been a long wait for the next issue in this series. Now, I understand that oftentimes when it comes to independent comic creators, sometimes you run into things that keep you from being able to publish content more frequently. I know this from my own personal experience as a publisher, because after I did the esteemed No Good Deed comic, I think in about late 2020, early 2021, I wanted to try to follow that up with the ISIS All That Glitters graphic novel. Unfortunately, I couldn't raise the funds to be able to pay to get that project completed, so that script is still sitting on hold. And in the time of 2021-2022, I decided to go and launch another full comic in John Haynes at Death's Door. And after doing John Haynes at Death's Door, I basically wasn't able to go out and look to do another comic project due to issues as related to raising funds. So I understand that sometimes creators have setbacks as related to what they want to accomplish, and I believe that's sadly what happened to Greg Burnham, that kept him from being able to get more issues of Search for Sadiqah out over the last 3 to 4 years. But in that 3 to 4 years, I think Greg Burnham has basically refined his craft as a storyteller, and he's really got a fantastic pair of artists to work on this book, Search for the Sadiqah number 2, because Search for Sadiqah number 2 basically is like a fresh start on the overall Search for Sadiqah series, and I see the improvement in his craft overall with this second issue, which is one of the best comics of 2024, one that I highly recommend and that you go out here and get, because this action-packed fantasy really reminds me a lot of one of the great mangas like One Piece, and the art really reminds me of legendary comic artist Michael Golden, and this book just comes together for a fantastic continuation of the adventure for the Search for Sadiqah. Now, this Search for the Sadiqah series basically starts out as a series set during the time of the era of Black Wall Street and takes place in the aftermath of the tragedy of what happened to the destruction of Black Wall Street during the Tulsa race riots. And as the story is going on, it revolves around Sadiqah's family, which becomes separated as they tell their daughter to flee and look to go on a quest to go to a promised land. And as she's going on this quest for this promised land, this is where she runs into all kinds of different peoples, and it makes for a very fantastic black fantasy, a fantastic black fantasy that it basically fuses with black history, to tell a very compelling story. So, Search for Sadiqah was a great concept, and this second issue is, again, it just builds on everything that happened in issues 0 and number 1. Does a great job of, again, being a great entry point for a new reader. So if you've never read issue 0 or number 1, this number 2 will bring you straight up to speed, and basically have you into this saga that really, again, will just draw you in like much of the great Japanese anime and the great Japanese manga. And everything as related to this book, again, shows me how Greg Burnham and his team have basically refined their techniques. I mean, I look at the art on this cover, it's bold, it's dynamic. The way the entire cover is laid out just basically captures your attention and shows the maturity and refinement of the team, as we see a much more mature looking Sadiqah, looking again strong and confident, and showing that she's again grown as a character, as the craftspeople have grown as related to their story. And as we open the book up, we get to see the team of Greg Burnham and Tiana Ankam and Talia Ankam again have done a great job on the art, and we've got a great Devron Menes has done a great job on the letters. Again, great creative team, and again, they've grown and refined their craft, and the action opens very strongly with Sadiqah's mom basically looking at their destroyed home, reminiscing as related to the past, and we get an introduction to the present. So we get a great job of, again, introduction to one of the new main characters, and we get to start to see what she wants. It was something inside of that home where these racists are basically looking to, a sense, say that they're going to take out the trash, which they think black people are trash, showing us the racism that went on in that era of Jim Crow, and then showing her making quick and light work of these guys. And then after making quick and light work of these racists, then going into her home to go get something inside of that home. And that makes us care, because we want to find out what's going on here, because we're going to see how Sadiqah got her skills. And again, this is very good because it shows us that the mother is the first teacher, and the mother is basically taught her daughter to be a warrior, and we see where it all comes in the family. And everything builds as related to things, as Sadiqah's mom basically is now going on a search for her daughter and is looking just double tough. I mean, really great opening sequence that basically is contrasting the quest that Sadiqah is going on in the 4th page. Again, good work of building up a story in just, like I've said in my rule, you have 3 to 5 pages to tell your story. So we get to see the mother going on the quest for the daughter, and the daughter going on a quest for the promised land. Great contrast as related to storytelling, great setup for the story, and in basically less than 4 pages, we're basically into the story, and this does what a great comic does. Again, give us that entry point for a new reader. If you never read Search for Sadiqah, this second issue brings you up to speed in less than 4 pages and draws you into these characters and their world. A world that, again, reminds me of some of the great animes like One Piece, and also reminds me of another great anime I used to watch about at 5 o'clock in the morning in the 90s called Dragon Warrior. I mean, when I looked at a couple of these pages, like this page right here, the bottom panel reminds me a lot of the kind of characters I would see in Dragon Warrior. And you get this quest, and again, the action basically feels like Dragon Warrior, and it just is big and bold. And again, the storytelling is so compelling in this book, and we get a lot of nice twists and turns in less than 32 pages. And I absolutely love everything in this book. I just love everything in this book. I mean, this is just great old school style action and adventure, and I love the way Greg fuses black history into things like I try to do on my ISIS series flashback stories. I mean, you feel like you're taken back to that time, and you really feel like you're taken back to that time in a brand new adventure, and everything is so good. Again, the action is really big. Even the horse becomes a character kicking butt. I mean, there's and then we get to know her familiar in the Dragonfly later on in the book, but I don't want to give away too much of the Search for Sadiqah's second issue, because I want you to go out here and get your own. I mean, this is a book you have to have in your hands and hold in your hands. Now, I got my copy on Kickstarter, and I'm hoping that Greg has a website set up the way I have one set up on Lulu.com. I have a page set up for John Haynes at Death's Door because I wanted people to be able to pick up that book and pick it up after the Kickstarter. And I really hope that Greg has something set up so that people can pick up this book and the back issues too. And this Search for Sadiquah second issue basically takes you, is again a fresh start for a new reader. If you haven't picked up the previous books in 2019, you will be right up to speed in 2024 with this second issue. And the second issue basically is a brand new entry point for those new readers who missed out 4 or 5 years ago, and we'll see how great this adventure series is. A great adventure series for brothers and sisters, which presents you with a strong black heroine in a nice action-packed multicultural adventure. Again, well done from Greg Burnham and the Oncom family. They have done a great job on this second issue. A great job of making a character that we got introduced to if you picked up the first books fresh, and a fresh character for those who haven't read her. I mean, Search for Sadiquah basically will have you searching for the next issue and anticipating the next issue. This is a book, again, I really want to see more people pick up because Greg is a very talented writer, and he's just great at storytelling here. And the art, again, it's just a great fusion of two great styles. It reminds me of the manga and the anime style of Japan, but also reminds me of legendary comic artist Michael Golden with the shading and the way the characters are presented in their composition. So you're getting some fantastic art and you're getting a fantastic story. And this is one that I definitely don't want anybody to miss. This is why I'm doing a video review of this book. I mean, I don't want you to miss out on this action-packed African-American fantasy that basically shows how black people are descendants of kings and queens. And the lineage goes on. And this is, again, it's just an absolutely fantastic story. And I'm glad to see Greg getting back to being creative because this is, again, a great series, and I really want to see more of it. This is the type of fantasy that I go out of my way to, again, talk about on this channel and share with readers. And I really want you guys to go out here and get your own copy of Search for Sadiquah. And I'm hoping that you don't have to search for this book. This is one I want to see in more people's hands. And it's a great story that, again, will get you excited about comics. I mean, this is the kind of comic you don't see Comics YouTube talking about. I mean, great comics like this, they don't really talk about these kind of comics, but I talk about them on this channel because I want to see more people picking books up like this. I want to see more books like this in hands of readers. Just really great storytelling that can, again, just draw you in. And everything here just shows how much Greg has grown in his craft, and it's the kind of comic that, again, all ages can enjoy, all ages of people can enjoy. And again, this is just great fun comic storytelling, and I'm hoping that we get to see more from Greg in the future, sooner rather than later. Now, my first full comic, John Haynes at Death's Door, is now available on Lulu.com in paperback, and you can pick up a digital copy right now on Amazon and Comixology. Now, I'm currently working on trying to get a paperback version of John Haynes at Death's Door to Amazon.com. Unfortunately, the page layout and formatting is a bit of a nightmare over there, and it's a challenge to get it over there, but you can still get a digital copy right now, and you can get a digital copy of Esteem No Good Deed in comic format for just 99 cents. And if you want to pick up a paper copy of Esteem No Good Deed, you can get a copy of that in the Esteem series book, Esteem Blast from the Past. And if you want to pick up some of the other action-packed fantasy in the SJS Direct universe, you can find action-packed fantasy in the SJS Direct universe in books in the ISIS series, books in the Esteem series, books in the John Haynes series, and in other books like the Goth Spinsterella trilogy of Spellbound, the legendary Mad Matilda and Spinsterella, and my vampire novel, Eternal Night. You can pick up all of those great books in the SJS Direct universe in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble. You can also find them in big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you'd like to help me be able to continue to support great independent comic creators like Greg Burnham by being able to spend money and put pledges on their Kickstarters and their Indiegogos or other comic distribution sites, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, E-Steam The Sands of Time. It's action and adventure in ancient Egypt in this terrific teen time travel romance. Get your copy of E-Steam The Sands of Time at your favorite online bookseller today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis The Beauty Myth. Learn the beauty secrets of the goddess next door in this action-packed Isis series adventure. Get Isis The Beauty Myth at online booksellers everywhere today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, My Sister, My Frenemy. It's a sister act as the goddess next door and the devilish diva team up in this action-packed Isis series adventure. Get Isis, My Sister, My Frenemy in paperback and e-readers everywhere. Now available on Lulu, John Haynes at Death's Door. The man who rules the world takes on the Greek god of death in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes comic book. Get your copy of the first John Haynes comic at lulu.com today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.